Looking at pages 13 and 14 of our Unit 2 notes, we are talking about finding the equation of horizontal and vertical lines. Horizontal lines are not a special case, and we can use our understanding of finding the equation of any kind of line here. So I could choose any 2 points on this line. Let's say -2, 3, and 4, 3. And I could identify the rise between those 2 points. Now the rise between these 2 points, the vertical change is 0. To get from this point to this point, I don't go up and I don't go down. So the rise is 0. The run between these 2 points is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which gives me a slope of 0 divided by 6, which is just 0. And again, these points are just arbitrary. I could have picked any 2 points on this line. I could have chosen these 2 points, and then the rise would be 0 and the run would be 3. That would still give me a slope of 0. My y-intercept, in this case, is 0, 3. So for this particular horizontal line, I have an equation of y equals mx, 0x, plus b, where b is 3. Because 0 times anything is just 0, I don't have to write that term, and the equation of this line is just y equals 3. For me, it is super helpful to think about a table of these. Well, I could just use these 4 points that I've already identified. This first point is -2 for x, 3 for y. This next point that I have labeled is x equals 0, y equals 3. X equals 1, y equals 3. X equals 4, and y equals 3. What I hope that you notice here is that x is changing. X can be anything actually that we choose, but y is always going to be 3. So this equation, y equals 3, describes every single point on this horizontal line. For every single point, y equals 3. I could do something similar for this vertical line. Just arbitrarily choosing some points. I chose this point, which is x equals -3, y equals -1, -2, -3. This point, x equals -3, y equals -1, x equals -3, y equals 2, and x equals -3, y equals 3. So similar up to above, where y was always 3, now for this particular line, my x value is what remains constant. X always equals -3, no matter what my y value is. And the equation of this line is actually x equals -3. This doesn't fit into our y equals mx plus b formula. That is because this is a special case, and we'll talk more about it in a future unit. But here, the rise between any 2 points, I can calculate it. Let's just say this point and this point. My rise is up 1, 2, 3. But then my run, my left or right change, is 0. Because I'm just going straight up. I'm not going to the side. Now 3 divided by 0 gives me undefined for my slope. You cannot divide by 0. That would produce an error on your calculator, and it's defined as undefined in math. And so we couldn't substitute that in for our m. So we couldn't write y equals undefined x. Similarly, there actually is no y-intercept because this line does not ever cross the y-axis, so we don't have a b. So we can't use y equals mx plus b. We just have to know a vertical line is going to be of the form x equals a number. You can think about, again, the coordinates of all of the points on that line, and they all have an x value of -3. When you come over here, you need to find some way of those multiple ways I've explained to help that stick in your brain, and then hopefully by the assessment you'll be able to just look at this and say vertical, x equals, horizontal, y equals, horizontal, y equals, vertical, x equals, and then identify what that particular value is. So in this case, x always equals 1, y always equals -3, and so on.